Hi and welcome to Roots Online for session 10 as we look at John chapter 8. And I want to ask at the start, do you have a hero or a heroine? Who is it? Is it someone famous, someone historical, someone personal perhaps, a friend, a family member, a great leader maybe, an activist, a social reformer, a very wise person? Who's your hero and why? Certainly growing up, my concept of a hero was influenced by film and TV and adventure novels. I was permeated by the idea of the swashbuckling adventurer who'd swing in and save the day. And more modern audiences may cringe at the old world implication of depicting a damsel in distress being rescued by a knight in shining armour. But there's still something enjoyable about the storyline of a hero or a heroine rescuing someone from a situation where they can't help themselves, usually from a nasty, ruthless villain. Perhaps for that reason, this passage we're going to look at today, certainly the beginning of John chapter 8, is one of my favourite passages and episodes in the Bible. On one level, it could be because of the cinematic, theatrical, and dramatic tension-filled nature of it. But there is just something incredibly significant in what happens in this episode that reminds us that Jesus is not just a hero, he is the hero. But there is a little problem with this passage. It's not original. Not that it's been copied and plagiarized. As you can see from the addendum on most modern translations of the Bible, verses 1 to 11 don't appear in this place in some of the earliest manuscripts of John's Gospel, or in some of the commentaries of the early church leaders when they wrote about John's Gospel. The idea of this verse 1 to 11, was it just made up? Was it just stuck in for a good story? Well, not really. It was clearly a known event in Jesus' life story. It wasn't there when someone wrote down the original of John's Gospel. However, he did that. There are other places where some things are added in a little later in John's Gospel, quite possibly by disciples of John and John himself. Even at the end of the book, you see there's a kind of an extra ending. But this passage, in full or in part, in some manuscripts, is found at different places in John's Gospel, in John 7 or in John 21, or indeed it's also been found in some samples of Luke's Gospel in either Luke 21 or Luke 24. So whilst there is some debate about the location of where this episode should be placed, the fact that it happened is pretty certain, and it may be that it is exactly where it was meant to be from the start. The rest of the verse 12 to 59, is a continuation of Jesus' clash with the cosmopolitan and elitist Jewish religious leaders based in Jerusalem, the Judeans as they're called. And it reflects an increasing animosity between the two parties, and Jesus making some stunning announcements about himself and God, and indeed about those who are in opposition to him. But we're going to look at the chapter now together in the videos. And again, what do we learn or experience of Jesus that's fresh or new or moving in these powerful and dramatic events?